right now on 5 on Your Side at 10.
Just 2 hours from now will be the 1-year anniversary of the CVPA school shooting. Only on 5 on Your Side tonight, hear from the Dean of Students, whose own son was shot.
Whenever I look at Anthony, I'm grateful that he's still here.
Plus tonight, converting part of Creve Coeur? The old Bayer campus sits unused. The controversy around turning it into a restaurant, hotel, and apartments.
On and off rain chances for the rest of the week and into the weekend. I'll time out when we may see heavier rain and possibly some thunderstorms.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us on this Monday. I'm Mike Bush.
And I'm Ann Allred. Tonight, unseasonably warm temperatures sticking around as we wait for the rain to cool us down. Meteorologist Jim Castillo joins us in the Weather Center to time out when that wet weather will hit with our Weather First forecast.
Yeah, you know, right now we're at 70. It was a really warm day in the 80s, and we've got that southerly wind that continues. We're watching a lot of moisture down around Texas, Oklahoma, and Arkansas, and then a frontal system that approaches us Friday and then stalls out. So tomorrow it's mostly cloudy, mainly dry, and not too much wind, but look at the rain to the west of us. So our western counties may see a spot shower. Same for Wednesday, more scattered showers at any point in time anywhere in the viewing area, but also dry time mixing in. Then Thursday, a little bit more widespread, so spotty rain the next 2 days, lots of clouds, but still warm, and a better chance on Thursday, waves of rain over the weekend and some of that heavy, and that's when we'll see the cool down this weekend, but even more so for Halloween, the trick-or-treaters in the 40s, and that rain should shut off before trick-or-treat time, but much more on the timing of that heavier rain coming up in just a bit.
Tonight, the city of Creve Coeur is moving forward to redevelop the former Bayer campus. The plan is to build apartments, restaurants, hotels, and office space.
In tonight's city council meeting, phase 1 of the new project was approved by city officials. 5 on Your Side's Diamond Palmer explains that residents are divided on the plan. Diamond.
Well, good evening, Mike and Ann. That's right. Residents say they want city officials to wait on making any further moves, and they want city officials to also listen better to their concerns. Now, earlier, Fireside Financial and Jack Matthews Development wants to totally revamp this area located on the Bayer campus of Olive Boulevard and Creve Coeur. Now, tonight, city council members voted unanimously 8-0 to move forward with phase 1 of the project. During the phase, developers will clear the site, install site utilities, and roadway construction. At tonight's meeting, council members also voted to make modifications to traffic impacts and neighbors, but not everyone is happy right now.
We appreciate that they were willing to make some concessions. They partially address some of our concerns, but they definitely do not resolve all of them, and having those compromises doesn't mean that you have our full support.
It's a really good golden opportunity for Creve Coeur to develop a business district that is dense along the Olive Strip, which we're already seeing is becoming more and more busy.
Now, city officials say only one phase at a time will be voted on, and in the future, they say they're going to work to better inform residents here in the city. But for now, reporting in Creve Coeur, Diamond Palmer, 5 on Your Side.
The city of St. Louis is now accepting applications for its Guaranteed Basic Income program.
The program will soon provide qualified families who are struggling with $500 a month for 18 months. Our Robert Townsend's live downtown with more on what you need to know. Robert.
Ann and Mike, I talked to 2 moms who say they like this program. Now, they say it will help ease their financial burdens.
I think the program is awesome.
Ann Smith is talking about the Guaranteed Basic Income Program, a pilot program the city of St. Louis is excited about. Smith is a single mother of 3.
I would love to apply for it because I'm new to the area and I need all the support that I can get.
Monday, the city officially opened up applications for families in need to receive $500 a month for 18 months. The city set aside $5 million in Federal American Rescue Plan Act funds for the program. Families who qualify must have a total household income less than 170% of the federal poverty level. For example, for a family of 4, that's about $51,000. Eligible families include parents or legal guardians of a child under 18 who is enrolled in a St. Louis public school or St. Louis City charter school, those who live within St. Louis city limits, and those who experienced a negative financial impact due to COVID-19.
With the rise of everything going up with bills, from food to gas, it's just hard, and it would help a lot of people.
The city treasurer's office will manage the GBI program and assist more than 500 families who qualify for a bank card. Concerned about where the public money would ultimately end up, Sharon Tyus was the lone alderperson who voted against the program last December.
Families overwhelmingly spent these funds on essentials like groceries and transportation.
This will help put me on a great journey.
Now, the city will accept GBI applications until 5 p.m. on November 1st. For more information, just go to our website, ksdk.com, and click on this story. Live downtown, Robert Townsend, 5 on your side.
The hot topic regarding the homeless population is expected to be discussed tomorrow among the St. Louis HUD's committee. That's the Housing, Urban Development, and Zoning Committee. It will hear testimony of the Unhoused Bill of Rights, an ordinance that adds safety and other protections for the homeless. Earlier this month, city officials closed a homeless camp located outside of City Hall, sparking controversy across the area.
Tomorrow night, Brentwood Forest will have a meeting at its clubhouse to answer questions about unexpected evictions. Last week, some residents had 3 hours to move out after inspectors determined their building was unsafe. Now the complex will install temporary shoring under the subfloor. The project should take 3 or 4 weeks. Tomorrow's meeting is at 6 o'clock.
Illinois lawmakers will meet tomorrow to take care of any unfinished business before the year's end. The fall veto session will determine whether the state continues to offer scholarships to low-income students who want to attend private school. They'll also decide whether to allow new nuclear power plants and if domestic violence victims will receive more legal protections. The session will last until November 7th.
The St. Louis County police officer accused of firing shots at a Kirkwood trunk or treat event is no longer employed. Sources tell 5 on your side Matthew McCullough resigned. He's accused of firing shots at a Halloween event for Tillman Elementary that took place at North Kirkwood Middle School earlier this month. He pleaded not guilty to 11 felony charges.
Tonight, a man is dead after trying to move a dead deer off of Tesson Ferry Road. It happened around 5:30 this morning. Police say when the man got out of his car to move the deer, an SUV hit him. First responders closed Tesson Ferry for nearly 3 hours while they investigated.
An O'Fallon, Illinois family is grieving tonight as they wait for more answers in the death of their 16-year-old daughter. Maddie Best died Friday after a car crash in St. Clair County near O'Fallon. Her dad says she was in the car with 3 other people. Maddie was in the back seat and had her seatbelt on.
We're not angry at what happened. It's still in the process of being figured out, and that's hard, you know, because we want answers and we want them now, and I want all the blanks filled.
Maddie attended O'Fallon Township High School. She was on the tennis team and in student council.
1 year ago tonight, families were getting ready for bed ahead of what they thought would be any other school day. Tomorrow will mark 365 days since a gunman opened fire at Central Visual Performing Arts High School in South City. And tonight we're hearing from the Dean of Students, whose son was among those who were shot inside the school that day.
In a story you'll only see here, he tells our Christine Byers how he and his son have spent the past year finding the strength to move forward.
Manfred McGee says as soon as his son woke up from anesthesia, he began inspiring him with his strength.
He immediately got up and started walking. It showed me his will and his determination to rise from where he was.
It's been a year since that moment when 16-year-old Anthony, seen here, was rushed into an ambulance.
What happened seems like it happened yesterday.
He's a parent, he's the Dean of Students, and he's a survivor of the shooting himself. We first talked to him just 20 minutes after his son got out of surgery last year.
I stepped into the hallway to find out, a little bit more about what was going on. At that moment, the shooter was in the hallway and fired a shot at myself and another coworker.
McGee's son was shot at the same time as his favorite teacher, Jean Kushka.
Sometimes Miss Kushka would take Anthony with her on field trips at the school when it wasn't his field trip.
She did not survive. Neither did fellow student Alexandria Bell.
To be shot, to see one of his favorite teachers be shot, to help people get out of the room after it, to come look for me. He experienced some trauma on different levels.
So did his father. The shooter, Orlando Harris, was one of his former students.
As bad as I hate it happened, the reality is that all of the lives that were lost in this situation is horrible and horrific. I feel for his mother.
The building where McGee has worked for the past 13 years reopened in January. He and his son walked back in together.
But what I did say to him was, just try it and see what happens.
It was good for the both of them.
It allows us not to be fearful of what had transpired.
Still, father and son have their moments, like the time someone used a jackhammer outside the school.
That was a trigger for Anthony to hear unexpected loud pops.
Fire drills can trigger trauma, too.
Fire alarm was pulled that day.
Now, drills must be announced.
When you prepare the students for it, it allows them to adjust their mindset to know it's going to happen.
Since then, they found new ways to bond. And his son was an honored guest at Miss Kushka's daughter's wedding this past weekend.
As long as he's okay, I'll be okay. I mean, I have my moments. But after every storm, sometimes you have to clean up after the storms. And you remember the storms, but you can't stay where you are. You got to push forward.
And he says, find the strength to get up, just like his son did. Christine Byers, 5 on your side.
McGee's son, Anthony, was not ready to speak on camera. The two are planning to spend Tuesday at a healing event at the bullet-related injury clinic, along with other survivors.
The war in the Middle East could impact your price at the pump.
Especially if Iran gets involved. Iran is a major oil producer, and if they embargo oil or cut exports, that could weigh more heavily on oil prices.
Why the time of year could help keep prices low. Prepare yourself. Daylight savings is just weeks away. We verify why we're still changing our clocks despite the strong push for it to end.
How long will this very warm weather last? Plus, I'm timing out multiple rain and storm chances, also when we'll see the return of a fall chill.
Tonight, the Biden administration is advising Israel to delay a ground invasion of Gaza to allow more time to get hostages out and humanitarian aid in. But it's not clear if Israel will take that advice.
The Israeli Defense Forces, they make their own decisions. They decide what they're going to do and when they're going to do it.
The U.S. is boosting its military presence in the Middle East, trying to keep the conflict from spreading. Tonight, sources confirm Hamas has released 2 more hostages, but hundreds more remain held against their will.
I just hope that they will bring him home and my soul will come back to me.
Better news to the south, where aid trucks are finally flowing from Egypt into Gaza, bringing desperately needed food, water, and medicine as humanitarian agencies plead for more supplies, including fuel. A spokesperson for the National Security Council said today the U.S. military would be ready to respond decisively as needed if the conflict were to escalate, noting the U.S. will not allow any threat to our interest in the region to go unchallenged.
There are growing concerns that the conflicts in the Middle East could impact prices at the pump. While neither Israel nor Gaza is a significant oil supplier, if the war expands to other countries like Iran, there's a possibility of tightening oil supplies. But as it gets cooler outside, the winter months could work in our favor to keep prices low.
A lot of the seasonality that's pushing prices down is really winning that tug of war, and that's helping to keep gasoline prices declining, even as oil prices have gone up.
A decreased demand for gas helps lower prices, and right now Gas Buddy says the national average is at its lowest price since July.
It's about time to lock in your health care plan for next year. Right now, many employers have begun their open enrollment. The Kaiser Family Foundation's new survey says the average family plan now costs nearly $24,000, and workers are paying more for their share after their companies foot the rest of the bill. To enroll a family of 4, the average price is about $6,500, an increase of about $500.
The cost of family health insurance is basically the cost of a new car, a new small car, but still a new car. If you anticipate having health needs, if you have chronic health conditions, then you may want to have a plan with lower cost sharing. That's lower deductibles, copays, and co-insurances. Alternatively, if you're relatively healthy, you may want to pay less money up front, and you may want to go for a plan that has a lower premium contribution.
Inflation and a rush of post-pandemic healthcare demand are key factors in these soaring premiums.
Daylight saving time ends in less than 2 weeks. Brandon Lewis from our National Verify team looks into why most states still change the clocks despite multiple proposals to end the practice.
Get ready to fall back on November 5th as most states once again mark the end of daylight saving time. 2 Verify viewers texted us to ask if, after this year, the U.S. plans to remain on daylight saving time permanently. So, let's verify. Our sources are the Uniform Time Act, the Sunshine Protection Act, and the National Conference of State Legislatures. The Uniform Time Act created a nationwide daylight saving time schedule to move our clocks forward in the spring and back in the fall. The law allows states to opt out of the schedule and remain on standard time year-round, which is why Hawaii, most of Arizona, and U.S. territories don't change their clocks. However, many states would prefer to remain on daylight saving time year-round. In the last 5 years, 19 states have either enacted legislation or passed resolutions to stay sprung forward all year long. California voters also passed a proposition to stay on daylight saving time, but that still needs action from the state legislature. No state can switch to DST until they get congressional approval. In 2021, the House didn't take up a bill to keep daylight saving time year-round, and a similar bill is currently pending with no signs that Congress will vote on it this year. So, no, the U.S. is not planning to remain on daylight saving time year-round. With your Verify, I'm Brandon Lewis.
And what can we verify for you? Please email verify@ksdk.com.
Well, it sure didn't feel much like fall today. Meteorologist Jim Castillo joins us now with the Weather First forecast, and it's going to be warm again tomorrow, right, Jim?
Yeah, today 4 degrees away from a record.
Wow. And do people come up to you all the time when you go places and say, when is fall coming? I'm sick of this. Or do you get half and half?
You know, they love it. A lot of people love this warm weather, but they don't want it too hot. You know, today was getting close to that too hot. 82 for that high, yeah. So, but guess what? We had a dry heat, so it didn't really feel like 82 in some cases. A lot of friends were saying that. 86 for that record high back in the 1930s, and 50 for the low, but no rain. We need the rain. We're still in this drought, and the rain chances are increasing. But tonight, clouds increase, and 61 for the low in St. Louis and about 57 in Shiloh, really mild. And the current wind speeds at about 10 miles an hour in St. Louis probably stays up there throughout the night. Upper level winds, high pressure down here south of Texas, and then low pressure on the west coast. So we have a southwesterly flow watching this moisture in Texas and also Oklahoma. And then here comes a front, kind of pushes into that as we get into Friday, and then it stalls out. So it looks like the weekend forecast, these fronts moving through, well, as they stall out on Friday, the better chance of seeing some rain Friday, Saturday night, and into Sunday. All right, so here it is Tuesday at about noon, just a mostly cloudy sky, and then we'll time out maybe some spotty showers in the western portions of the area. But here is 1 a.m. Again, mainly dry, lots of clouds, very mild. And as we get into Wednesday, spotty to scattered showers, maybe a rumble of thunder, but a lot of dry time, a lot of clouds in there, and that chance of seeing some breezy weather. Here comes the front as we get into Friday. Out ahead of it, look at that temperature, 84. That's 1 degree away from a record, 85. And then we had that chance of a storm Friday. Here's Saturday evening. The front kind of stalls out probably just around St. Louis or south. So rain from time to time, and some of that heavy as we go into likely Monday. So here's what the potential rainfall is looking like through 6 a.m. on Saturday. About 1/4 of an inch south and east and maybe an inch north and west. Then you just add in Saturday night and Sunday. All of us seeing 1 to 2 inches, possibly as much as 3 inches of rainfall. So we'll watch that. We need the rain and probably not going to cause any issues because we're so dry. But 77 tomorrow, 80 on Wednesday, 78 Thursday, 84 Friday. Then finally cooler for the weekend. Keep the umbrellas handy. And as we get into Monday, 52 on, Halloween, it's 47. So a lot cooler weather for next week.
Oh gosh, we're going to have to think about covering up those
jackets over the costumes. I know
That's never
kids
good.
hate that.
All right, Jim, thank you. Let's get to Corey Miller.
Well, it's been an amazing night for baseball. It's Christmas Eve for SLU basketball. We'll have an emotional Blues story you'll want to stick around for. Sports is on deck after the break.
The Sports Desk is sponsored by Jim Butler Chevrolet, the Midwest's #1 Chevy dealer 10 years running.
Maybe it's just me, but something just feels off around St. Louis without postseason baseball this year. The Cardinals didn't even come close to the World Series, but the 4 teams left have sure given us a pair of awesome league championships. Game 7 in the ALCS between the Rangers and Astros is still going on, so I can't show you highlights quite yet, but it's all Rangers. Texas jumped on top early and kept adding to that lead. Max Scherzer gave up 2 runs in 2 2/3, and Adolis Garcia went crazy again. He had 2 home runs tonight and now has 15 RBIs in this series alone. Jordan Montgomery even came in for 2 1/3 scoreless. Right now, the Rangers lead 11-4 in the 9th inning. NLCS Game 6, Philly was ready to celebrate a return to the World Series, but the Diamondbacks just refused to die. 2nd inning, Tommy Pham wants to play in a fall classic. He takes Aaron Nola, who we'll talk more about in just a second, over the wall. 1-0 Arizona. Very next batter is Yuli Gurriel. He also takes Nola deep. The D-backs wouldn't be caught. They win Game 6 by the score of 5-1 and force a decisive Game 7 tomorrow in Philly. We've talked a lot about the aforementioned Nola here in St. Louis. He's likely to be the cream of the crop on the free agent pitching market. And the Cardinals, well, they need plenty of pitching. But it may not be just about the money for free agent pitchers these days. Mike Bush sat down with the Post-Dispatch's Derek Gould on Sports Plus last night for some insight into what pitchers are really looking for.
Where do they go for the analytics? Where's the armada of analytics to offer them up every sort of detail on their pitches and work with them? So that's what the pitchers are looking for as well, is like, all right, where's a place that has a laboratory that's going to help me excel and maintain and also be healthy? Like, you know, the Cardinals have a department of performance, which has been a really big thing for them. It's going to be a more prominent part of this, too.
The Blues named their 2024 Hall of Fame class over the weekend. Keith Tkachuk and Mike Liut are heading in, and so is the late Pavel Demitra. Demitra had nearly 500 points over 8 years in St. Louis. A plane crash in Russia took his life and the lives of 42 others on his KHL team back in 2011. Seeing number 38 as a Blues Hall of Famer will be a special moment. And one of Demitra's closest Blues teammates had the duty of telling his widow about the honor.
I just got the call that I'm going in, and obviously I wouldn't have done it without Pav, but I got even better news. I'm going in with Pavel. So Pavel's going to be inducted into the St. Louis Blues Hall of Fame, and it's going to be something that's happening in January. So I'm pretty excited to going in, but I'm even more excited that I'm going in with Pav, and I'm happy for you and your family and the kids and everybody.
I can't believe this. I didn't expect this at all. I mean, I'm still processing this.
Basketball season has arrived in St. Louis. SLU hits the court tomorrow night for an exhibition against Kentucky Wesleyan. It will be a different looking roster for the Billikens this year, but we may not get to see all of it tomorrow night. Here's Coach Ford to explain.
They'll probably know most of the guys that are playing because a lot of the new guys are not cleared by the NCAA yet, so they probably won't. We'll wait and see by game time if they're cleared. But I think they'll have fun watching this team. I'm anxious to see what we look like, but we've had to change things around the last 24 hours to try to, have a little bit of organization come tomorrow night.
And that will do it for sports tonight.
All right, Corey, thanks. Well, the St. Louis art scene means business. How the community is bringing millions into the city.
A landmark on the Hill has a new owner. Regazi's has been bought by a local ownership group. The group plans to honor the restaurant's rich history and says favorite menu items are not going anywhere, but they do plan to add some new offerings in line with the changing energy on the Hill. Regazi's first opened in 1957.
Well, it turns out St. Louis's art community brings in some serious cash. The Americans for the Arts Economic and Prosperity Study found the arts contributed more than $868 million to the Lou in 2022 alone. The study says more than 8.1 million out-of-town tourists attended theater performances, concerts, art fairs, and festivals, and the arts and culture sector provides more than $600 million in wages.
Comedian Nate Bargatze is postponing his visit to St. Louis because he was tapped to host Saturday Night Live with musical guest Foo Fighters. Originally, he was set to appear at the Fox tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday, and he will now perform in June of next year. For the new dates, just click on this story on KSDK.com. If you do have tickets but can't make the new shows, you can request a refund.
And there you have it. 5 on your side at 10. The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon is next.
Have a great tomorrow.